Hello, folks, and welcome to our last part of our HTML tutorial. Unlike the C++ tutorial that was previously done that had all these 12, 13 parts, this one only has 5. But we've seen how powerful HTML can be. It is extremely versatile. I mean, we're able to do all kinds of things, all the way to lists. And today, we're going to do the last few things that I have not covered, including tables. Now, this is a regular table. You can notice that the lines are red. Normally, you cannot do that, but we're going to go from tables, how to change colors, all the way to fancy tables where you can search items from a table. We're going to have some audio and video examples, some links, and then we're going to be doing some customizing of text, from regular text, a little fancier text, and even more fancier text. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. It's the last part of my HTML tutorial. The next tutorial I will be doing will be on CSS, on styles. But before I get to the styles, I probably will take a small break of 2 posts that will be computer related, computer programming related, but not CSS. And then I'm going to get started on the CSS tutorial. So let's go ahead and get started, guys. This is the end of this tutorial on HTML, and there's some exciting things to look forward to. All right, folks, so here we are. This is the first, my last part of my first HTML tutorial. And as you can see, I'm sharing my screen. I got brackets, I got Safari, I got a text editor, text edit, and this is a very simple HTML file that says HTML is cool. That's what it looks like. So we'll start with the first table example. And before I show you what it's going to look like, I'll show you what it looks like over here. Then we have a title, which is table example. We have a custom table example, and anything between table and /table, obviously these are my tags or elements, will be part of the table. Now, TR stands for table row, so we're going to have row, 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 and then we have columns. Now, all the columns can be just columns, but sometimes we want to separate a column from a regular, a header from a non-header. I could say, I'm not looking for the name. So in this case, we have the month and the number of days. Those are my headers. And then I got, the months, January, February, they got 31 and 28 days. Respectively, I could do all the months right there. So I'm going to save it, and I'm going to reload the page over here, and that's what it looks like. Cool. Custom table example is centered with the number 2 level header right there. And of course, you got month and number of days. No, the color is black, the standard font, and no lines or anything like that, just a standard table. That's what you get when you do the table rows, TRs, right? Table rows, and then TDs is for the data, which is like the January, February, 31, 28, or a TH if it's a header, do header as well. But we could get a little bit more fancier than that, of course, and we want to do a little bit better. So let's enhance our table a little, and I'm gonna save this. So what am I doing here? I'm adding a style. That's all. The only difference I'm doing between this and the prior example is this right here, the style. And I'm telling it, hey, for table header, and table data, for all 3 of these, make the border 1 pixel solid red. So for anytime I see any of these 3 right here, make them 1 pixel solid red. So that's what it will look like. Here we go. Here's my lines, 1 pixel, and now it looks more like a table, separated with a line, right? Let's go ahead and keep enhancing our table. This time, I'm gonna save it, and here's continues to do the style the same, but now I'm doing a caption monthly number of days. That's the caption right here. That's the caption example. So what does this look like? I'm going to reload it, and here it is, monthly number of days. It's part of the table. See, it's inside the table. We have our caption, but think of this as like well, it's a caption. I want to say a header, but in reality, the headers here are the month and number of days. But it's not a line outside of the table. It's within the table. That's all it does. It puts a line to text on top. Pretty straightforward. Let's see. I'm gonna get a little bit more fancier now, and I'm gonna do another example. And in this example here, I got my table. Now, this time we're gonna do something different. Here's my style. I'm basically changing my style. Over here, the number of days, my caption is the same. Here I got the month, number of days. This looks next to each other, but remember, I mean, I could have done that. I mean, it doesn't matter, right? And the TR right there, see? It looks the same. I'm just putting them together to save space, but you know, what I added here is the style, which I'll go over right now, and the footer. There is a total days number, and then I have the number 59. So here's my footer. Footer will be, of course, at the bottom of my table. The caption, we have a footer. And I'm telling you, look, for the table and the header and the data, make it one border solid red. For the header, make it green. The body of the table, make it blue violet. And the footer, make it fuchsia. Fuchsia, I hope that's how you say this. So how is that gonna look like? Look at this. So here we go. Here's my greens. Here's my blue violets. And of course, for the table footer, which is this last one, fuchsia. I hope I'm saying that right, fuchsia. I could have selected any color, but I chose that one for some reason. So as you can see, I'm customizing the table more and more, making it a little bit more appealing, if you will. But let's continue to make our table a little more appealing. Let's say I want to get a little bit more fancier. Okay, and I'm going to delete this and save it with the new table. Okay, so again, I got my table, my header, body, and footer. Not changing anything there. But look at this, I'm saying column group. This is the new thing right here, column group. And for that column group, I'm saying the style, the background to be orange, and the background orange and the background color yellow. Okay, the background's orange and the background color is yellow. Again, I'm using style, so you know, I could do a CSS file separately, or I can just include it in here. I'm doing this with the column group. Okay, the rest of the table will look the same. So what does it do? There it is. I changed the background of this to orange and yellow. So this first column here, I'm saying do it orange, which is this. And the second one, I'm doing it yellow as it is here. So our table keeps changing. It went from nothing to now it's got lines, color lines, different colors, and then now I got backgrounds. Not bad. Let's do another table example. I'm gonna get way more fancier on this one because that's the whole purpose of HTML, to be able to do things. I'm going to increase the size of my, something like that, only, something like that. I'm gonna save this table. All right, what am I doing here? Obviously, I have a table. My header is the employee, the city, and the phone number. I put an ID on table right there. Table ID. ID is something I can put in on any of the elements. And it usually do this because we're going to refer to it somewhere else, in this case, our style. And I'll go back to the style right now. Now, what I'm doing here is saying, look, my table is going to have an ID of T1, and I'm going to have all these fields, right? The phone names and cities and phone numbers. Now, what's going to happen with this T1? Why is it there? Well, actually, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. And here's my style. I'm saying, look, where I see T1, remember this T1. So basically to this table, apply the following things. And I'm going to do all these changes. The font family, I'm going to call it Trebuchet MS, Arial, Helvetica, and Sans Serif. I'm going to do border collapse it, and then I'm going to do 100% of the width. For the TD and customer CH, I'm going to do border and do some padding. This here, the ent child even background color F2, F2, and this is what the F2, F2 looks like, white, okay? So what I'm saying is, look, the color of this is gonna be one thing, but here, but every other, with the even one, the even rows will be of a different color than the non-even, than the odd rows, right? So I have all these paddings, and I mentioned before, this is not a CSS tutorial, but the padding basically is the distance between the actual text or whatever and the position where it's supposed to be at, right? Then we have the line to texting is left align, and then we have this color of green, and then on black. So what does this look like? Well, our table is about to get very, very fancy, guys. And I'm going to do that right there. Now, notice that I'm resizing my table. You notice how I'm resizing the table up and down doesn't do much, but left and right, it resizes with it. That is the 100% width right there. You can do that with that. The other thing I notice here, look how we have green here, right? That's my table header. And then we have these alternating colors for my table, where one is white and the other one's a little bit gray, if you will. So that's the gray right there, and that's the white right there, see? The even ones are white, so, and the odd ones are gray. Now, you notice here, it looks like it's different, but it's actually the opposite because of the header being here. So I got my text with reverse colors of my characters for employee city, phone number, and then I got all my names. So that's what this table looks like. Again, all I've added to this was this style right here. You can copy and paste the style into your table and it will make it look like this. It's very, very convenient. All right. Let's do one more, and we're about to get really fancy, guys, because we're going to do JavaScript. The reason I'm including CSS and Java is so that you can see the power of these two wonderful languages combined with HTML. The table by itself doesn't do much, but when you start putting styles, like I've done right here, there's my style. This is the same one that I had. This is this. But now, look at this, script, JavaScript. And I'm not gonna go over the whole script. All I can tell you is, well, I'm gonna go over a few things. First of all, here's my class. This is important. I'm gonna use the class in JavaScript. And then there's my ID right there for the T1, and then there's another class right here for order table, my table. Now, this is the only three things that I actually use in the tables. This class for my section, and this is a section. So when I select a section, that means apply to all of this. And then I have this input button. This is a button. I've typed search, and I'm gonna give it a class of my filter, and the data type is my table, and I'm just gonna put the word search inside of it. So if we go back here, this is the style for the colors. It's going to make all this beautiful table. This here, the JavaScript, is what's gives it the search box. Based on, because every element in my table, including the buttons and the table itself, has a name. has a class. So now I'm using JavaScript to get the values, and basically I'm going to search for those values and rewrite the table as I'm getting the values. So I'm going to save it, make this smaller, and I'm going to make this table like that, and I'm going to reload the page. Now, the table looks the same. The only thing we added here is this box that says search. That was my this placeholder says search right there. That's that search right there. Now what happens? Let's say I'm gonna my name. That let's say I had 1,000 of these records, right? And I just wanted a few. How about the one that starts with J? Boom. How about the one that starts with John or Johnny or Johnson? In this case, here's the J-O right there. If I put N, I'm gonna put H actually. And Johnny Ace, there we go. So what this JavaScript does is, Ricardo, right? Depending on the letters that I'm putting, it starts eliminating some of the table rows. And so it's a nice little search box. I mean, if you think about it, it's a great little search box. I'm not gonna take claim over this search box. I'm gonna be very honest. I do JavaScript, but I love this example and I copied this example. I don't have the link here, but the author did a hell of a good job. So this right here, all the way to there, is what makes the search box work. This right here is what makes it look like what it looks like. And of course, here, like I said, we have a class. And if you were to use these same names, it will work. Of course, you can change them or whatever. I didn't change them. I just used them because I really like the functionality of the search box. I was not thinking about including an example with JavaScript. If you notice in all my examples, I include a little bit of styles, but no JavaScript, or a very basic JavaScript like I did in list and so on. But it really enhances the functionality of a table. Imagine you have an HTML file that has custom, very fancy list and information and pictures. And you saw in my tutorial, in my previous on a previous part, we have those very advanced graphics, and now you can do all this functionality with tables. I mean, it's really, really awesome, guys. I mean, the HTML really rocks. It's cool. All right. Now let's do a little bit of video. We're gonna go into video, and I'm gonna make this smaller again, and I'm gonna save it. And on this example of my video, we're gonna see the knobs and all this. We're gonna see this, but I'm gonna explain what they are. But we're not gonna actually have a functionality because I don't have audio or video to show, not without breaking any copyright. So I'm not gonna do it. My language is English. Here's my comment, my title. Now I do have a style. The background is RGB 191, 214, 255, which is that right there. Looks like a light blue. Just another fancy way of putting a color on the screen. And this is the background. Now, I'm sending in the word audio, and here are my controls. Here's for a source for audio 1 and 2. I don't have these audio files in my computer, so they're not going to do anything. And then for video, and I have something similar here. You know, I do have for my video height and width, and I'm gonna show the controls. There are the controls right there. Here's my source files, the type of file they are, and there's a tracking. If there were subtitles, they'll have all that. The cool thing about this is if I actually have the files is that it will look pretty cool. So I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna go here and reload the page. And that's what it looks like. Now you see the control right there for the audio. Here's the control for the video. They're not gonna do anything because I don't have the files on my computer, but that's how you use them. I'm not a big fan of putting audio and video on a HTML file. If anything, I'll put a YouTube file in there. You know, I would, like I'm doing right now, I'm creating a YouTube file, and instead I would just embed the YouTube file. But can you do it directly from a server? And then, oh, of course you can. Of course. Sky's the limit here, okay? All right, let's do this guy here. Now, this is an example of links. And we've done links, we just didn't officially introduce them. But links basically is just used to you click on a link and it goes to somewhere else, right? In this case, I'm saying, look, click on this word here, the word here, and jump to CNN, which is going to go to this. We use the href attribute to go to wherever I tell it to go to, and then I'm using the target. It's going to go to another page. Instead of using the same page, it's going to go to a new page. So if we go and reload this page here, it says here's my word links, which is this, and I'm saying click here to jump to CNN. If I click on here, it's going to open up CNN, today's CNN, and it's opening it on a new tab because I'm using the target attribute right there. All right, so that's how links work. See this here. I think this is another example of links. It is, but in this case, what I'm doing is I'm using the base, and you could do href and just put in whatever, but let's imagine you have multiple links and they're all within your server in a subdirectory somewhere. You can use the base to tell it where to go to, and then in here you just put the bottom, the ending part of the of your path. So it's gonna do the same thing. I include the word article right here, but you know, if I click on it, it opens it up. It opens the DeLorean article that I found. So this is the same as putting this plus all of this together, but we do it with the base. Again, all it does is it tells it where to go look for starting from that point on. That's it, nothing more. All right, and then now we also have something called the nav element. And I'm going to, oops, what did I do? Well, there we go. I'm going to, oh, I know what I did here. Get out. No, I don't want to save it. Sorry about that, guys. All right, so let's do save. And what does it do? Well, I'm using a nav right there. There's a nav. And I'm doing all these H references. Nav is a way to combine things in a navigation. Okay, this is what it looks like over here. So I got my different links, and no matter what I click on, it'll just go and do something. I don't have these subdirectories, so they're not going to do anything right now, but that's what it does. That's the nav. I don't use the nav a lot. I don't have a big example on it because I'm not a fan of nav. Take that, all right? Sorry about it. I'm just not a big nav fan. Not like that, anyways. Now we have a little something called a script, and here's a script example. I've done other examples that include a little bit of JavaScript. This is a very basic JavaScript where I'm telling, look, you notice though I have no actual typing. Instead, I'm telling, look, the idea is my JavaScript example. Whatever, this is in between this paragraph, right? You know, it's there. And then over here, I'm saying, look, go to the document, get by element by ID my JavaScript example, which is this right here. This right here is this. And then the inner HTML, type hello world. And so what's it gonna do? It's gonna type hello world. So whatever I had here, this will replace it. I could have a lot of text and have a button, and when I click on it, boom, it will type this because I'm telling it to replace the text. Okay, so now I'm going to do another one. This is called the embed. Now, I don't think I have the hello world SWF, small web file. These were very popular with Adobe Flash, by the way, if you recall the Adobe Flash file, it's a SWF, small web file. So we can embed files. These were very popular, gosh, 15 years ago, I guess. because a lot of people would make small videos and they're very small in size. So they were, and you can do more than just videos. You can do full menus, click here, do that, you know, and encapsulate a web page within its document in Flash. And then you can just embed the file in here and say, look, it's an HTML file, but this file with the small web file format, this Adobe Flash, will do something. Now, the problem is, one, it's obsolete. Even embed still works. It's the Adobe Flash that doesn't. And additionally, this is not going to do anything because guess what? Mac no play no good with the Adobe Flash. So I'm just putting it here so you can see how to use it, but in reality, this is not very practical because it's obsolete at this point. Another example. Here we go. Let's save. Now, style. Here's my style again. It's another style example. I'm saying, look, for the header 2, make it red. And if it's a paragraph, make it blue. So when I go here and it says, oh, there's my H2, wait a minute, I'm telling it to make it that in red. And over here for the paragraph, oh, make this in blue. So we reload and there it is. Here's my heading in red and here's my paragraph in blue. So those two simple lines can make sure that we don't use that boring black and white. That's cool, right? Okay, so now we have another example. This time we're using the div. And I'm gonna reload the page because it's the same example that I have there. But anyways, here what I'm doing, again, we still have the H2 for red, the P for color blue. But notice I have this little dot and it says my div. And then what I'm telling is, look, style, whenever I have this, I'm gonna make all of these changes. You know, here's my border, you know, point the pixels, the outset, this and that. I'm gonna change this to 10 pixels. And I have my color, and I'm gonna align the center to the center. Okay, then I go over here. Here I got my heading, my paragraph. When I go to my div, I put in class my div. Class equals my div, meaning whatever's inside this div must follow these rules right here. Okay, so again, this is what it looks like. I already did a refresh here. And here's my, well, I'm gonna reload it. And here is my, save it, reload, and there it is. Now it looks more. See, now you can see it's not a solid, it's more of an outset. See how it looks like it's changing colors because it's an outset type of box. I made it 10 pixels. And here I got still got my header color and but now for everything that's in my div will follow that rule for this. So here's the regular text and here's the paragraphs. Outside of the div, it goes back to the regular blue because I tell it to do blue over here. So that's what that looks like. Very easy to do. Again, I don't want to jam you with a bunch of styles and different things. We'll go over that around CSS tutorial, but this is another way to alter things. You know, again, divs, sections, things like that, they're very, I want to say repetitive in my personal view, but anyways, let's do the span. Another way of combining things. Here's my span. Now, what the span does, it allows you to do things for little sections of HTML, if you will. So I'm going to see some text. Notice how I have no style over here. So I got some text, some words, and now I got span, and then I'm doing all these changes for this word only. And then for this, and that's the span. I can change it for that. Okay, so I'm going to reload it, and there it is. For the first one, I changed the font weight to bold and the color chocolate. That's right there. For the second one, I didn't change the color. I did change the background color to chocolate, and that's right there. So that's how you can do with the span. You do the styles inside the span right there, okay? And I believe I got one final example I'm gonna minimize that. And in here, I got a style for my table, table header, table data of my border, solid red. And I'm using the span as well. I'm using the word dialog here. Look at this, dialog open. And so what is this gonna do? Well, let me save it so you can see what it's gonna do. I'm going to reload it. And this box right here, that's the dialog. That's all it does. Believe it or not, that's all it does. Anyways, I hope you like my tutorial here. This is the last part of my HTML tutorial. If you like this, please subscribe, like my video. And I'm gonna do a couple of other computer programming related videos before I do the CSS tutorial. The CSS tutorial will be much bigger than 5 parts like this one is. But anyways, until next time, yeah, you know what to do. Thank you.